Hello everyone. In today's video I decided I'd go outside of the house, show off some of the nature here in Greece. And before I get started with anything regarding to how to actually set up your workouts for when you're traveling, to go off of yesterday's video, let's just take a quick sec. Let's take a quick sec. And just look at this. Beautiful. At some point we're gonna go all the way up and I'll show off the view there, but today I'm in a bit of a time crunch, so we're only going halfway up the mountain, but I still got some stuff to talk about today. So going off of yesterday's video, I talked a lot about more of the logistical side of how to plan your training around your travels. However, I didn't get into what are the basics that you want to be doing in the gym so that you know you're covered and you can still maintain your physique and your fitness goals while exploring the world and having a great time. So I'm gonna break it down and make it as simple as possible, because I'll never suggest someone spend, never suggest someone spend a crazy amount of time in the gym, especially while they're traveling. If you're back home and comfortable and you're in your own setting, that's fine. That's one thing. You can spend as much time as you want. However, when you're out, you want to be in the gym. You don't want to get in the way of anything. In the gym, out, done, and you can move on, explore, have a great time. So to make it as simple as possible, I split it up into 4 different movements plus, a bit of an extra. But it goes as follows. You want to have a push movement, a pull movement, a hip dominant movement, and a knee dominant movement. And then the extra is maybe some core and isolation work. So things like arms, shoulders, whatever makes your physique look good, especially if you're out shirtless in a bathing suit or whatever at the beach. So to get into some push exercises, the most simple one you can do that'll have you covered is just push-ups. If you can crank out 20 push-ups whenever you remember throughout the day, hopefully by the end of the day you at least have 100 to 200 push-ups under your belt, and you're good. You don't have to worry about push-ups for potentially even 1 or 2 days. So push-ups is by far the number one thing, especially if you're on the go. If you have bands with you, you can set up the bands behind you and get some extra resistance with the push-ups. If you can crank out say 30, 40, or 50, and you really don't want to be sitting there doing push-ups for too long before you get tired, throwing a band on is a perfect option. And you can get creative with it. You can do incline, decline, whatever you want. Change the positioning of your hands. Get narrow, get wide, go low, go high. You can change it up however you like, but keep it simple. Push-ups is to go. And if you have access to a gym, just pick one sort of pushing movement, like any sort of bench press, whether it be incline or flat bench, or with dumbbells, barbells, or if it's a machine, any sort of pushing movement, whether it be straight or above your head too. Pick one, don't do too many, get a nice pump, call it a day, move on to the next one. Now, next is the pull. Now, pulls is the reverse of a push. It's when you do a row or any sort of pull up or pull down, or lat pull down. So this might be a little bit trickier, especially if you don't have any equipment. But say you have some bands, you can attach it onto a door. Hopefully you don't break the door. If you do, I'm not responsible. You chose to do it. But you can set up on a door or any sort of sturdy surface, the band up top, and you can pull down and get your lats. If you have access to some form of a bar somewhere, sometimes there's outdoor gyms you can go to. Definitely worth keeping note of that, so that if you do want to get some sort of good workout in, you can just go get your pull-ups in and get your whole workout in and be done with it. And again, if you have access to a gym, I recommend any sort of cable machine or cable row, lat pull down, pull-ups, dumbbell rows, barbell rows, whatever you have access to. Pick one, do it well, and then leave it at that. Get a nice pump, get a nice sweat, and then you're covered for the day for those. Now, next one is hip dominant movements. Hip dominant movements refer to things that cause you to hinge at the hips. So things like deadlifts are the main ones. Deadlifts and glute bridges. Those are the 2 biggest ones. Anything else is a variation of the sort. If you don't have any equipment, you may have to opt for doing single leg RDLs, Romanian deadlifts, or things like single leg glute bridges on maybe a bench or a chair or couch or whatever you have access to, just because you don't have the weight, the extra weight. So you're gonna have to go nice and slow and use one leg at a time, because otherwise it'd be way too easy and you would just look silly. But if you do it single leg, it'll be a little harder, especially if you have the tempo very slow. 5 seconds down, 5-second pause at the bottom, and then back up again. If you do those for a high number of reps, you will start to feel something in your glutes, and you'll know you have that covered for the day. And obviously, again, if you have access to a gym, don't be afraid to do some dumbbell or barbell Romanian deadlifts. Just go to the knees. I don't really recommend going all the way from the floor unless that's what you want to do. But if you just want to make sure you want to have some good glutes going for the summer, just go to your knees. You don't have to go all the way down. And also you can do glute bridges as well as the Romanian deadlifts. But just pick one for the workout, hit it hard, hit it well, and then call it a day. Leave it at that. Next up is the knee dominant stuff. So if you don't have any equipment, you're gonna have to get creative. However, there are some good recommendations. Something like a sissy squat is very good. Things like a ATG split squat is also very good. ATG is, ass to grass. And you can do this all the way on the ground if you're flexible enough, or if you have, if you find some stairs, you can do them on the stairs or even on rocks. I know I have rocks here. It would be a perfect place to do them. Anything of that nature. If you have a band, you can even do some band TKEs or terminal knee extensions. You can attach it onto something sturdy and then just straighten out your leg and get a nice quad pump. Otherwise, that's mainly it. Oh, and actually, if you have a band as well, you can lay it down on the ground and get some hamstring curls. But beyond that, when it comes to knee dominant movements, without much equipment, that's where you're going to be limited to. However, if you do it enough, you will get a good stimulus, as well as if you're walking a lot, hiking, going upstairs or up mountains or whatever it is you choose to do on your vacation, on your travels. That's also going to help get some blood going in the legs, and you'll feel great as a result. And of course, if you have access to a gym, you can just do whatever squat variation you want. You can do barbell squats, you can do goblet kettlebell squats, you can do Bulgarian split squats, lunges, forward, back, whatever you want. But just, again, pick one, hit it well, call it a day. You don't want to be spending too much time in the gym. Go out and enjoy the world. You're only going to be in that different place for a minimal amount of time. The gym isn't the priority, though it is still a priority. So that's it for the knee dominant stuff. Now, when we get into core and isolations, I'll first talk about core. I wouldn't necessarily recommend cranking out a bunch of sit-ups or anything like that, just because that could be tough on your back, especially your spine too, or your tailbone, if you don't have, say, a mat or a carpet or something soft. For this, I would recommend different plank variation. So you can do regular front plank, you can do side plank, you can do plank rotations, anything that gets your core nice and sore, especially because that is when you do planks or anything that's sort of anti-resistance, just holding stuff like this, that's an anti-resistant movement. It does what the core is mainly designed for, which is stability. And while you're doing that, you will also get a nice, you'll keep your six-pack going if you have one. As well, if you do have a bar, say you find a spot for pull-ups, it wouldn't be a bad idea to also crank out some leg raises. You can go straight, also go to the side, work the obliques a little bit. And by doing those, once, twice a week, you'll have yourself covered when it comes to core stuff. And then we kind of get to the fun stuff, which is the isolation exercises. And, if you're going to be going to the beach or anything of the sort, main isolation stuff you're going to do, especially if you're a dude, crank out some arms, get some curls going, pick a rock up, curl it on both arms, and then get some tricep push-ups. Anything that can get a nice, get those veins popping, get the pump going before you hit the beach is, it's a must. Otherwise, it's a little sad, But again, even any sort of isolation for arms, shoulders is also a good option. And if you have bands, you can do stuff for your quads and for your hamstrings, like I mentioned, the band terminal knee extensions or the hamstring curls. So anything like that is great for getting some isolation work in on top of that. However, again, the isolation stuff isn't the main priority, because you work your biceps, you work your triceps and your shoulders when you do things like pushing movements or pulling movements. So they're not the main priority, though. If you have time to do some, crank some out, never hurts, especially if you're going to the beach. So that's it for the movements. If you do these 5 movements, you will have your bases covered, and you don't have to do all of them in one workout, especially if you don't have much time. You can just do the push and the pull movements one day, and the knee dominant and the hip dominant ones another day. Call it and then move on. And also get creative. You don't have to do one solid workout, say half hour, an hour in a given time slot. You can space it out throughout your day. You can do some bits in the morning, some bits say after you have your first meal, your lunch or whatever, and then a little bit before you go out for the night or whatever it is you're doing. You can space it out, break it up, however fits your schedule best. But don't give yourself the excuse that, oh, I'm on vacation or I'm traveling and I can't work out. You 100% can. You choosing not to because you're on vacation is fully just that. It's a choice. So you have the ability to do it. You just have to make it a priority and set a bit of time to do it. And yeah, you will continue to look phenomenal on your travels, however long or busy they are. So thank you for listening. I'm going to finish this video off with the view again because, well, it's just amazing. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.